Welcome to Behind the Bottom Line podcast. I'm Adam Hayes, joined to my left by my co-hosts, Bob Payton, bobpayton.com, and across the table from us is Chris Lucas with Shaker. Welcome, Chris.
Welcome.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yeah. So tell us about Shaker.
Yeah, so Shaker, we are a real estate transaction management platform. So in the simplest way, we are...
Mouthful.
We are Monday or Asana or Trello for the real estate transaction process. And so we work with realtors to do a lot of the task management, automation of communication during the transaction experience, right? And so... we're helping them kind of organize the whole process because there's a million things that people don't really understand that go on during the transaction experience.
Sure.
And so we help them kind of make sure that everything is getting done. But the flip side of that is we also have a client portal where clients are able to see a timeline view, their documents. You know, if I'm a realtor and I assign you hey, we need the HOA docs delivered before closing, I can assign you a task and you can see that in the client portal. They can click that off and it's done. And then there's a vendor section where they can see like mortgage or inspection companies or whatever. And so really kind of bringing the agent experience to better process management and then giving the clients a better view. So the idea is that an agent can have a streamlined process that makes it super easy for their client.
And for them.
Yeah, and for them. And then hopefully that client wants to work with that agent more and more because they had a really good experience. Because typically, as we know, that buying and selling of a house, that process, if you're the client, tends to suck.
Yeah, it's not something we do every day, right? As consumers of real estate, it's not something we typically do every day. So is it for commercial realtors or is it for residential realtors or both?
So residential realtors, so we work with, so if you think about it, there's the big brands, the Keller Williams, the Talk to Tuckers. We work with teams within that. So there may be, I'll shout out my realtor, Laura Turner group. She has 5 or 6 agents. And so we're selling to the Laura Turners and then a lot of independent brokerages as well.
Okay. So it would be the broker that you're marketing your services to.
Yeah, team lead or broker owner.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So kind of tell us what's happening now underneath the broker or dealer with all the individual agents and what are they doing now? And where the gap that your product fills for them.
Yeah, so right now the issue is that I think the average number of tools is that the agent or broker uses about 12 to 15 tools.
Wow.
And that's everything from CRM to back office to checklists, and there's a lot of point solutions. So we're really trying
notes on their monitor.
I mean,
wow,
you've got a big whiteboard there. You don't know how many times I've walked into a real estate office and they literally have basically a Kanban board, written in marker about each stage and what's happening and which deals are in which stage, right?
Wow. So it forces then the agents to be inside the office.
Or at least they have to have some other way of tracking it, right? And so what we're trying to do is just trying to simplify the process and have document storage and have emails and reminders, all that kind of thing in one platform. And obviously, as we grow, we'll add more to that and do a lot more that will help build out that end-to-end piece.
Right.
So,
gotcha.
So how does one become aware that these problems exist?
Yeah, that's where I was going.
So funny enough, so we were actually launched out of High Alpha Venture Studio here.
Yeah.
And so we can get into this we were actually going to start another company. But this company was started, there was a realtor who had tried to put together, because he was using so many tools, he tried to kind of duct tape with Infusionsoft, which is marketing automation platform, a similar system.
Now it's called Keep.
Yeah.
Yes.
He had tried to put together a system. He took it to High Alpha. And when we shut down our other company, we took this and kind of went through the validation process and was like, there's really a need for this.
Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately, we launched in the middle of COVID, and I'll tell you horror stories about that. But so that's really how the genesis of it started. And then we kind of came in with our software experience and said, okay, we think we can kind of build something around this. So
nice. Cool. What kind of traction are you getting? I mean, how long has it been in service, and what do you see happening?
Yeah, so we've been around for 4 years now, launching in COVID.
Yeah, those don't count.
Yeah, right? And then, well, it's funny because I think we were talking before, right? We launched in COVID where realtors are getting 10 offers on a house and above asking price and no contingency. So they don't need to manage a transaction, right?
Right.
And then we had about a year and a half of kind of just steady growth, and we really kind of got traction. And then all of a sudden mortgage rates go up to 7%, and the number of transactions is historically down to, about 08, 09 levels. And so now people are like, well, I don't have enough transactions to
I don't
manage
have
the
that
process,
much complexity right now.
Right.
It's
Do
like
it on my
this deal.
hand with a pin.
Yeah. So we've been able to weather the storm. It's just a matter of, when you're in a new market, you're a new company against a lot of legacy systems.
Right.
It's hard, but I think one of our compelling points is that we are modern software in a space that has a lot of ugly software out there.
Right.
So,
and some just non-software, right? It's just literally paper.
Well, paper, and then there's still so many on-prem things like back-end office accounting.
Right.
One of the biggest players just announced they're going to the cloud with one of their systems. I'm like, this is 2024.
Careful.
Right. Yeah.
So it's still, we've been able to just kind of slowly keep going, and obviously we want to continue to grow, and I think we've got a good product. It's just a matter of kind of keep slogging through this next market and see what happens on the flip side of that.
You bet.
Cool. So where would you say the product is now on the product lifecycle scale? From MVP to where you are today. Where are you at today with that?
Yeah, we're fully baked. We've got a pretty robust product. We've got SMS that you can send automated text messages 3 days before closing. You can get a text message that says, hey, here's your closing. Here's the closing location, right? I think for us, where we've kind of stalled in the product is the next layer of functionality, just because we need a little bit more growth and trying to get to that next level of customer at the brokerage level to sustain a higher ACV or contract value.
Yeah.
So,
and can an individual realtor come sign up with this and be effective, or is it really only effective at the broker level?
Yeah, we do have a lot of individual agents, but typically it's agents that are looking to grow their process, and they already are used to having a system. But the team and brokerage level are kind of what it's built for.
What kind of monthly deal flow would make sense for a brokerage office to consider this?
We have teams that are doing 50 to 100 transactions in a month. We have some that are doing 20, right? But our sweet spot is typically 4 to 5 people in a team, or kind of 25 plus in an independent broker,
Gotcha.
Because they've got somebody who's going to manage, who's setting the process, and they're like, okay, here's what the process should look like. They've got somebody managing the software, things like that, where agents don't want to be in software. They want somebody to manage it for them.
Just like salespeople and Salesforce,
exactly.
right?
Yeah.
So how much of the time is, kind of education or onboarding with, a particular customer and getting them, trained on the system, and like, hey, here's from soup to nuts, we're going to take you through and train you and kind of hold your hand and make sure you're adopting this into your practice, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because a lot of the times we get through demos or things like that, and somebody's like, holy cow, this is the system that I've been looking for, right? And because there's not a system that kind of sits in that spot that we do. But typically we'll get somebody up in kind of 2 to 3 weeks, and then kind of another 30 days of them really kind of running deals through the system. And where we get the better adoption is, again, where somebody has a process and they're like, I just need, I'm growing, I've got a process already, but I need a way to kind of implement this. And I've been doing whiteboards, or I've been doing 10 different other tools. I need it in one platform.
So they've already started to feel the pain of all the other things that don't. Okay, gotcha.
You need a unified digital system.
Yes.
To kind of automate what they're doing and try and create a little bit more scale.
Well, because a lot of them will have emails in a document that they copy and paste and send out each time. They've got a checklist that says, hey, we've got to remember to sell out this seller disclosure your email, and copy and paste it, send it out, right? Where we can just set that all up at once. That email goes out, they're done.
Yeah.
So
perfect.
Yeah.
Man, I think if I was a realtor, I'd be drooling. Right? Really.
So is there an arms race right now? Have other companies discovered this gap in the marketplace and they're trying to fill it? Or are you guys pretty much the only ones occupying that space? Or what's the landscape look like?
Yeah, there are a lot more tools kind of coming in. A lot of time, because the lifeblood of any realtor is number of leads. So a lot of times, or historically, the emphasis has been put on CRM systems, and then obviously you have back-end commission accounting type systems. And so we kind of sit in the middle of those. What we've seen is CRMs try to come down the stream, if you will,
Of course,
and fill
yes.
that middle, which some can do it, but they're still CRM heavy, right? They're still very lead, auto dialers, things like that, drip campaigns, which you can kind of transform that into a product like ours. But on the back end, you've got accounting software, super ugly, super old, right? And they're trying to come into the space. So people are kind of coming in. We've been able to do it in a much more user-friendly way than some of these other legacy systems. And so
is the product set on all three of those
That's what I was
sides?
gonna ask,
So
yeah.
from CRM to, deal management to accounting, is your product capable of doing all that? Or are you still in this central spot that's really been, the gap is really big where, processing deals, getting deals through in a structured way?
So what's funny is when we started this, and my co-founder, Ashley Walsh and Michael Maddox are two other co-founders, and we both looked at each other and said, we're not building another, CRM.
Right.
And funny enough, we built a CRM because that has to kind of that powers the transaction piece.
Yeah.
So we do have a little bit of CRM functionality. We call it contact management, right?
Sure.
Like we're not a HubSpot or something like that has full blown CRM capabilities. But where we do see people using us for CRM is where, they're highly referral based. And so they don't have to do a lot of drip campaigns and things like that. They just need a way to remind themselves to keep in touch with people. There is a point where we will go into the back end because we do commission calculations and, we'll be able to pass that into accounting software.
Right.
So we bleed on both sides, into both sides, if you will. And there's opportunities. It's just a matter of being a 4-year-old company and, starting businesses. It's like, okay, how do we go deep enough to get this? And then we know that we have opportunities. And even if you think about the client portal, there's so much that we could do there from a commercialization side. It's just, we built it with the idea that we can go a lot of places, but we knew we had to be really deep in this one place to start with. And so we've been fortunate that we've been focused enough to stay there where we could have gone,
hey, let's go chase it.
Yeah,
sure.
So
So do you have APIs at each end that kind of interface with the tool sets?
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. So we're built on APIs, and then we can integrate. We have Zapier integration, so we can integrate out into CRMs. We can integrate back into the back end software. So we're built to be flexible.
Awesome.
So,
Well, that probably creates some opportunities for unique, channel partnerships as well.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I can think of a few already.
We won't name names, right?
Yeah. But I mean, you talked about, staying true to your core, but at some point, what do you see happen in the next 3 to 5 years, right? Is there an opportunity to take that same model and apply to another industry as an example that's in the same situation? We won't mention any, right? But there's many, right?
Right.
So this is your core product, and if it's working and it's awesome, that's good. Any thoughts of applying that exactly same philosophy to something else, or not?
Yeah. So I think the way that I look at this is with the idea that, because we're tied into, I always look at this, and I was with a company called FormStack, and we dealt with data management, right? Process and flow management. And I would always tell people that worked for us, I would be like, don't mess with people's data and don't mess with people's money. And so we need to get tied to the revenue side. So I think at that back end accounting piece, there's a lot of, because we have the transaction information, we can easily feed into, hey, how do we cut commission checks and how do we do these kind of things, right? I think the other place for us for broker management is if you think about, we are essentially project management on steroids for real estate transactions. There's opportunities for us to manage more of the process in brokerages. So, most brokerages have marketing teams and their social media calendars, and they're doing other things to promote their agents or their brokerage. So we can build it a little bit more broadly where we're not just doing the transaction piece, but if marketing has, hey, we've got to put social media posts and we've got to do this and we've got to do that.
Sounds like project management.
Right. So really it's bringing that project management piece to the brokerage and just kind of building it in a way that exposes that more than just here's your house, here's your address, here's the listing price, those kind of things. Right. So that's where we see the opportunity at the brokerage level is, hey, we can not only manage the transaction, but we can also manage a lot of your business processes.
Okay. Nice.
That's awesome. So how did you get to Shaker? What's your journey to this point, right?
Long and arduous.
Yes. So I have, so I mentioned I was at FormStack. Actually, so I started at Blast Media, which is a PR agency. They actually just got acquired by Pan. So now they're Blast Pan.
Is Kelly still involved?
I think he is an advisor still.
Okay.
But Mindy Werney and Lindsay Groper, they're, great friends and dear people who have helped me on my journey. But I was actually at Blast Media, and then Ade Alono, who started FormStack, was like, "Hey, do you want to come work for me?" And I was like, "Sure." I was, my son had just been born. He was 2 weeks old, and my ex-wife didn't realize why I wasn't more scared of that. And I was like, well, whatever.
Yeah.
So I was technically employee number 2 at FormStack, was there for about 10 years. Did a stint at another company called Sign Up Genius. Apparently I can stay away from the form space.
Right.
Yeah.
Went back to Blast Media, where I was kind of working on their tech side, their startup PR side. And then joined High Alpha to start a company. And that's where we had to shut down one company, literally shut it down. I don't know if you remember the Monday, or that kind of Monday through Wednesday where COVID kind of shut everything down. I remember being at my kid's school on Thursday night. They said no school Friday. We started a house renovation on Monday and tore our whole kitchen out, tore our whole first floor out. They said, "Oh, by the way, your cabinet maker just went out of business. And we've got to shut down your company." I was literally trying to talk to investors, trying to get to fund the other company, and got a call from pretty much everybody on that Wednesday. And they were like,
click.
We're pausing for the next 30 to 40 days to see what happens. And so we shut that business down and kind of went back into EIRs, or entrepreneurs in residence, and kicked around about 80 ideas and finally came up with this one. So so it's been, a fun journey.
That was an interesting time. But funny enough, you and I were talking about our common, Carla.
Yes.
That we both know. That's actually how I met Carla.
Okay.
So she worked for a law firm downtown. We were, working on a project, starting to work on a project together. Was going to sign, in essence, the contract on Friday afternoon. What is it, March 10th or whatever the day was? Saturday partner calls me up, says, "All that's done, right? We're doing something else." He's literally carrying his mother from the nursing home to the hospital.
Oh man.
Right. I mean, it's just that whole time, that week was really interesting time in history. Right. Not fun at all. So it's an interesting connection. Though,
yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. We'll talk about it over a beer sometime. So
there was a ton of uncertainty, but I kind of overheard some of your guys' conversation. So you haven't lived in Indiana your entire life. So kind of tell us your journey. How did you get to, where were you, and how'd you end up here?
Yeah, so I grew up in Wisconsin. I was actually, backing up even more, I was actually adopted from Colombia, South America.
Oh, wow.
By parents in Wisconsin. So I went from Bucaramanga to Bogota to Miami to Minneapolis in February in the middle of one of the biggest snowstorms. There's 24 inches of snow.
Yeah.
And is that 78?
No, I was born I was adopted in 82.
Okay.
So, so I lived in Wisconsin as a Colombian. Well, there's not a lot of us out there. I'll tell you that much. Especially, and I play hockey, so there's not a lot of Colombian, Wisconsin hockey players. If you cut the demographics, I'm kind of 1% there.
Did you ever get used to the beer and cheese diet?
Oh God, yes, I love it. I'm more Wisconsin than I am Hispanic. I'll tell you that much.
He hadn't said A yet.
Right?
No A's yet.
No.
So grew up in Wisconsin. Ended up transferring from a small school my freshman year to Purdue. And yes, go Boilers. Was at Purdue, graduated, lived out in San Francisco. My ex-wife and I got engaged, and she was in Chicago. I was in San Francisco, and we were like, well, we don't want to go back to Wisconsin. And so we kind of just looked around, and we had a lot of friends from Purdue living in the Indy area. So we chose Indy, and then I was telling you, I get bored. And so we were here for about 10 years. And then I was like, let's move to Charlotte. So we lived in Charlotte for about 5 years. And then we came back here. So it's, just like my...
Welcome home.
Yeah.
Right? So come back home. Yeah.
So kind of been all over, both professionally and personally. So
that's cool.
Yeah.
So what'd you study at Purdue?
Yeah. I forgot to ask.
I am a communication major, so I always tell people that I go to Purdue, and they're like, "Oh, engineer." I'm like, "No, I'm
No, me too.
like,
Okay. I play one on TV.
Yeah, and they're like, "Wait, you're CEO of a company." I'm like, "Trust me, it doesn't matter." So I tell people I go to Purdue. I let them think I'm smart, but I'm not. So it's all
that's
good.
right. So still family, right? We talked about kids and things like that.
Yeah. So I have 2 kids, a junior in high school, sophomore in high school, or freshman in high school, both at HSE. And then my girlfriend has 4 children. Her kids go to Carmel. So
oh wow.
Yeah. So we've got
interfamily rivalry.
Quite a household when everybody's there.
Yeah.
So.
After 5, your schedule is, I'm sure.
Yeah.
You're trying to figure out the logistics.
Yeah. Between 3 hockey players, 1 travel softball player, 1 dancer. Yeah, we're kind of all over.
Hope
the
you
place.
have one of those like Mercedes vans, right? It's 27 people.
Yeah, we need like a family Uber service. Is what we need.
Right.
So, yeah.
So what do you see happening next? What do you see happening, for you and the business and those kind of things? What's kind of the big thing on the horizon?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think it's, we're still trying to grow the business and trying to, continue to see how we can develop the products. I think we're in interesting times right now. There's a big lawsuit that's happening in the real estate space with how agents get paid, right? And so typically, let's say you're selling your house, 3% goes to the buyer, buyer's agent, 3% goes to the seller's agent. Well, in this lawsuit, it's basically said that what's the word? It's
monopolistic.
There's a monopolistic approach to
slightly collusionary.
Yeah, collusionary around. Hey, why does the seller have to pay that 3%? And so August 17th is like D-Day for the industry.
Really?
And so rulings come down and said, you have to, as a buyer, you either have to come with cash to pay your agent or you have to have some other agreement in place. And so that, along with where the market is, there's a lot of uncertainty.
Sure.
I think what we'll see is probably a reduction of agents. It's the 80-20 rule.
Yes.
20% of the agents make up 80% of the production.
The volume,
right?
Yeah.
And I think you're going to see a weeding out of a lot of these kind of 1, 2, 3 transactions a year agents, and you're going to see a cannibalism. We're also seeing that in the space, in the tech space around, just because there are so many legacy systems that have been out there for 10, 15 years that are just ripe for private equity
innovation.
Yeah.
But that also tells me there's an opportunity for you in your business, right? Because I mean, if I'm under the pressure, all of a sudden that expected commission, et cetera, flow changes, then I better get efficient.
Right. Well, and even with our client portal, like one of the things that we want to do is just highlight what agents really do for their clients. Yes. Right. And so there's a lot of opportunity. So the industry as a whole is just kind of really uncertain. But I think that I was talking to a mentor of mine, she's in the space, and, the folks who kind of see the opportunities are going to be the ones that survive. And I think that we've got a good product. We've just got to, continue to focus on the right things. But I think the industry as a whole is going to be vastly different. But I think it's going to be for the betterment. And I think the agents who really take care of their clients, who have been working their tails off for the last 10, 15 years,
hustle,
are going to be the ones that, still produce and do a really good job for their clients.
Yeah, absolutely.
So is D-Day, is that like a certainty, or is there a possibility that it may get deferred and those kind of things? Or
right now it looks like a certainty. That's when, the law is essentially coming into effect, and they've got to figure out, what is this
implementation?
What does this buyer agency look like? And we can't list buyer commission on the MLSs or whatever it may be, right? So that's where the industry is in a panic and trying to figure out, how are we going to manage this whole piece?
August right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, the good news is, people are buying and selling houses, right?
Yeah,
that's correct.
So there's going to be an ongoing need.
Yeah, and I was having the same conversation with her yesterday, and I said, if you take out there's three things that's going on. There's this lawsuit that's going on. You've got high interest rates. You've got no inventory. I said, if you take interest rates, which suddenly yesterday was at the lowest that it's been in like the last 12 months, and you take inventory, this problem starts to kind of figure itself out. And so I think as market conditions, I think the economy is going to soften a little bit, and you're going to see interest rates come down. You're going to see inventory go back up. And I think this piece will kind of right itself. And I think, again, those producing agents will start to figure out how to sell homes again. And it'll be less dramatic as I think it right now, just because you have so many other forces in the industry. So,
yeah, I'm one of those situations that, everybody's talking about where I live in a 1970s home. For me to sell that home, I can't. My mortgage rate's so low, compared to today. And then if I have to replace it, I can't afford it.
Right.
And it's like you're stuck.
Yeah.
So
you can't afford it, but you're trading.
Correct.
Well,
so
yeah. I mean,
if you can solve that problem, you'd be in a good situation. Yeah. It's like there's just nowhere to go.
Yeah.
They can't build houses fast enough because they're still catching up from 2008.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Or even before then, I think. But I mean, it's just all these. To your point, there's like 5 factors all driving things. So
yeah, it's crazy. I think the last number I saw, I think it was like 45% of homeowners have an interest rate under 3%.
Right.
Yeah.
So you're talking about 6.5 to 6.8 or 7%. Like that's just nuts. You've got a huge population out there that's not going to trade that right now. And so,
and then when you take the higher interest rate and look at inflation over the last 4 or 5 years, then
it really scares
it really disincentivizes people to come off their, low mortgage rate and, equity positions.
Yeah. But again, I think, not to get into the politics of it, but the election coming, right. I think there's going to be, and
something's going to happen,
right? I think there's enough softening where you're going to start to see that come down, and I think people are going to start to, shift where maybe they are a little more comfortable, or whatever. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Change is certain.
Yes.
All the time.
What those changes are.
Exactly.
We have no idea. Right?
Yes.
Well, appreciate you jumping on with us today. It was awesome.
Yeah. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
And how can people find you?
So
but making sure.
Shaker.io is our website.
Okay.
I am not huge on like Twitter, but LinkedIn. I am out there, Chris C. Lucas, and then I don't know my Twitter, but I'm out there.
It's out there somewhere.
So Chris C. Lucas on LinkedIn. So
Shaker.io.
Yeah, Shaker.io, and Chris@Shaker.io is my email. So
perfect.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Sounds great. Appreciate it.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right.